Welcome to the course on Azure Analysis Services. This course on Azure Analysis Services will span approximately 4 hours, and I will discuss about the pre-requirements in the next video tutorial. What is Azure Analysis Services? So Azure Analysis Services is nothing but the cloud version of Microsoft's on-premise product called SQL Server Analysis Services. Okay, so in SQL Server Analysis Services, if you know, there are two different products that are, or there are two different models that you can build within SQL Server Analysis Services. They are one is called cube or multi-dimensional models. I will come to the point why it is called multi-dimensional in just a bit. And the second one is called a tabular model. We will see why Microsoft has introduced tabular model in the later tutorials. Okay, so there are two different kind of projects that you can create within your SSAS environment. One is your multidimensional model or a cube model. The second one is the tabular model. Okay, now coming to the point why it is called multidimensional, and for this assume that we are querying data from a database. Okay, so we have a table here. Okay, and the table has rows and columns. Okay, so the table, for example, this is a customer table. Okay, and the customer table has columns like customer ID, customer name, customer age, gender, and so on. If you see, this particular customer table is a two-dimensional one. Okay, so one is the row, the second one is the column. So it is just two-dimensional. Okay, but what if, for example, I want to know what is the sales amount at a particular region, at a particular time, for a particular product, and so on. So there, if you see, the sales amount is involving three dimensions. One is the time, one is the place, and one is the product. It can also involve someone like salesperson. Okay, so there is a need for multiplicity of the dimensions, okay, to represent a particular data, and that is why it is called multi-dimension. Okay, so that is the cube is a synonym for multi-dimension models here. Okay, so to give a more accurate representation, or to give you more understanding, let us really go ahead and draw a cube. Okay, so to understand this multi-dimensional part. Okay, so here you have a cube. Let me draw it as per what I'm able to get. Okay, so assume this is a cube. Okay, and in cube, for example, you have 3 dimensions. So cube has 3 dimensions. Suppose taking our earlier example, we have a sales amount represented by geography, time, and product. Okay, so let me just complete this, because this will help you in understanding why cube and why multidimensional models and so on. So each of the dimensions you can think of either product or time or location. Okay, I will complete it here. Okay, so you can think of like, so this is the product. Okay, so you can think of, this is product P1, this is product P2, this is product P3, and so on. Okay, so this must be product P4. Okay, so there are 4 products for my company, and I am available in locations. This is geography, and I am available in locations called for example G1, G2, G3. Okay, and I'm selling it for 3 consecutive years, and I'm selling it for the past 3 consecutive years, and that is the data that I want to analyze. So here you can say 2014, here you can say 2015. So the entire set of data represents 2015, 2016. So this entire set of data points represent 2014. The entire set represents 2015. If you take one particular intersection, okay, so let me take a thicker one. If you take this particular intersection, okay, this particular intersection is a result of product P1, P2, and this particular intersection is this entire thing is product P2. Okay, so the entire thing is product P2. Rather, this 2014-15 should be coming here, in fact, because these are the three dimensions. One is X, Y, and Z. So it should not be here, it should be here. So this will be 2014, and this will be 2015, and this will be 2016 and 2017. Suppose there are 4 years. We are selling it for the past 4 years. Okay. So this particular intersection, this particular square is the result of product P2, year 2016, and G1. Assume this is the first square. Okay, when you're going in a Z direction, this is the first square. So this is the product of, let me write it, P2, 2016 year, and geography G1. So what it means is, whatever the amount that you put here, so you will go and write some amount, like for example the sales were 35,000 for this particular square, and you can write some other number for some other square. So since the value of 35,000 is represented at this particular square, it means that 35,000 is the sales amount for product P2 in the year 2016 in the geography G1. It can be India, Canada, anything. So this is called a sales cube. Okay, so using this cube we can only talk about only one business process, which is the sales. Okay, if you have to talk about finance, you have to create some other finance cube and so on. So this is talking about one particular process. So this is a sales cube. So this is the understanding. Okay, so this is the understanding for a 3-dimensional model. Okay, so there is a transition from 2-dimension to 3-dimension, but and this is the gist. Okay, this is what we will be doing. Okay, so but the problem is, businesses will not be having only 3 dimensions. They will be having many dimensions. For example, the sales amount for product P2 in the year 2016 in the geography, for the geography G1, and by the salesperson S1, by the customer C1, and so on. So there are many dimensions that you cannot meaningfully represent within a cube, because cube can only represent 3 dimensions. There are many dimensions that are available, and those are the kind of problems we will be solving with a cube or a multi-dimension model. Having said that, we will not be looking at cube or multi-dimensional models in this particular video tutorials, because we are dealing with Azure Analysis Services. Azure Analysis Services is nothing but SSAS in cloud or SSAS in Azure. So it means that you do not need to put your own money in buying the server, buying the software and so on. You just need to rent it and pay as you go. Okay. The reason why we will not be looking at cube or multidimensional model and will be only looking at tabular model is because Azure Analysis Services are new and they do not support cube or multi-dimensional models. They only support tabular model. Okay, so that is the main reason that we are going to look at tabular model. And if you see, the tabular model and multidimensional model are very similar. Okay, so if you do one, you should be able to do the other. But only one difference is that in tabular model, you will use queries called DAX, which is called data analysis expressions, okay, to query the data. Okay, in SQL for the two-dimensional data you use SQL, right? So for this multi-dimensional we use DAX, or rather for the tabular dimension you use DAX, and for the multi-dimensional you use MDX, multi-dimension expressions. Okay, so this is the difference. Other than that, development wise they are pretty much similar. Maybe here and there one or two features which are not really relevant for us. Okay, so this is the gist. So this is what we'll be looking at, and this is the introduction to Azure Analysis Services.